Commission, INEC, to recognize the PDP convention held in Ibadan and validated the emergence of Aminu Turaki-led PDP executive. These was part of the 13 reliefs granted in a judgment delivered by Justice Ladiro Akintola of the High Court 5 Ring Road, Ibadan today. BCO's reporter Bode Akijola explored details of the judgment. Bode's report is presented by Afolakemi Akombi.
Leadership crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party PDP in Nigeria seems to be ending with an High Court sitting in Ibadan delivered a judgment. The case was instituted by Folahun Malomo Adelabi against PDP Ambassador Umar Iliya Damagun and Right Honorable Umar Fintiri. Delivering the judgment today, Justice Ladiro Akintola of the High Court 5 Ring Road, Ibadan, directed the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to recognize the Ibadan PDP convention held on November 15th and 16th, 2025. The court also granted that the scheduled 15th and 16th November Ibadan PDP convention is certified whether or not the INEC monitored the said convention. The court also declared that the convention outcome is binding on all authorities and persons that have duty to relate. Justice Ladiro also granted a relief that the convention is legal and binding on INEC and should give effect to the convention. Speaking to newsmen after Justice Ladiro Akintola delivered the judgment, the counsel to the claimants and respondents in the case, Barrister Musbao Adetumbi, SAN, gave an insight into the relief sought and granted by the court.
So today, the ruling for that stay of proceedings was delivered, the application of stay of proceedings was refused, and the court moved to judgment. We sought for 13 reliefs. And we were saying that the claimant has the right to associate and he has the right to take the benefit of the association, which is the convention, and the court agreed with us. We're equally saying that since they've complied with everything that they ought to do, which had been done, then their convention is valid, and the court agreed with us. The court made that pronouncement. The court even gave a consequential order which we sought for, that INEC has to deal with them. All authorities must deal with them because they have a freedom of association and they've done what is legal. Yes, that judgment has said INEC should deal with the Turaki-led executive.
Reacting to a release by one Honorable Jingolo Aruna Mohammed that the judgment is a mere academic exercise, Barrister Musbao Adetumbi have this to say.
If they know that it's an academic exercise, then they should not appeal it. No man, not even with profound respect, the President and Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces of the country, which by special grace of Almighty Allah today is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has the power, capacity to describe any judgment or any order of court as an academic exercise. That power belongs to the court itself. The appellate court can call, say, oh, lower court, you engage in academic exercise. The Supreme Court can say, oh, Court of Appeal, High Court, you engage in academic exercise. But neither you, nor I, nor any citizen of Nigeria, not a court of law, will say a judgment is an academic exercise. There's nothing like that. Not even INEC. The only what INEC can do is to appeal it. They can seek leave to appeal it, but they don't have that power to say it's an academic exercise.
Reacting to the judgment, the Oyo State PDP, who spoke through the publicity secretary, Mr. Michael Ogunshino, said the judgment is a victory to those who believe in democratic principles of fairness. He added that the era of impunity by some individuals is gone in the PDP.
Because what happened today, Mr. Akintola has just stood by the laws of our country that has recognized our convention as valid, as proper and held within the provisions of the law. And I'm so particularly glad because now INEC has no other choice than to accept the decision of that particular, and the things we discussed and decided at that particular convention, which includes the expulsion of some Wiki, Ayofayoshe, and their fellow charlatans from our from our great party. So I'm happy that now the coast is clear for the Taminu Turaki-led executive to start and accelerate their rebirth agenda.
The 15th and 16th November 2025 PDP Convention of Ibadan has been a matter of legal litigations.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party governors-backed Taminu Turaki-led National Working Committee (NWC) has commended the Oluyole State High Court for affirming the legitimacy of the party's Ibadan National Convention held in November 2025. The Turaki-led National Working Committee, through a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Ini Ememobong, on Friday, hailed the ruling as a triumph for internal democracy and the cohesion of the party. On Friday, the Oluyole State High Court in Ibadan affirmed the validity of the 2025 PDP National Convention held on the 15th and 16th of November in Ibadan. The National Convention saw Turaki elected to lead the party's NWC. In response, the PDP praised the Honorable Court for its bravery and commitment to upholding justice.
The Federal High Court in Abuja on Friday admitted the former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, and his son, Abdulaziz, to 200 million naira bail each over alleged terrorism financing and illegal possession of firearms. Justice Joyce Abdulmalik, in a ruling on their separate bail applications, held that the essence of bail was to ensure that defendants attend trial. The judge ordered that one of the sureties must own a developed landed property in Maitama or Asokoro, Abuja, and deposit the title deed with the Deputy Chief Registrar of the court. Malami and his son were further directed to deposit their passports and recent passport photographs with the court. The court, however, ordered that the defendants be remanded in Kuje Correctional Center pending the perfection of their bail conditions and adjourned the matter till the 4th of March for commencement of trial.
Operatives of the Department of State Services (DSS) have arrested the alleged mastermind of the 14th December 2025 attack on Ekwa Church in Ayetoro, Kogi State. Security sources said the suspect, identified as Shafiu Usman, was apprehended at a hideout in Gombe State, where he had reportedly gone into hiding after the incident. Speaking on Friday, one of the sources said Usman confessed during interrogation to orchestrating the Ayetoro church attack and other kidnapping operations in Niger, Kwara, and Kogi states. The source disclosed that the suspect worked with one Ibrahim Batijo, described as a bandit operating across Niger, Kwara, Kogi, and Zamfara states. The source further stated that after the Kogi attack, Usman fled to Gombe, but was tracked and arrested by the DSS operatives. Recall that on Sunday, the 14th of December 2025, armed men on motorcycles attacked Ayetoro Kiri community in Kababunu local government area of Kogi State, abducting at least 30 residents, mostly children and elderly worshippers.
A member of the House of Representatives, Oluyole, has described the appointment of the new Acting Inspector General of Police, Tunji Disu, as a well-deserved. Honorable Oke, who represents Obuku Riade Federal Constituency of Osun State, said Disu's career profile and operational experience made him well-suited to lead the Nigeria police force at a time the country requires strategic reforms and improved public confidence in policing. According to a statement issued by the media unit of the lawmaker's office in Abuja on Friday, Disu's track record in law enforcement, operational excellence, and dedication to national security positions him to drive effective intelligence-led policing and strengthen internal discipline within the force. Oke called on Nigerians to support the new police leadership in its efforts to maintain peace and public safety.
This broadcast of Newscope comes to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, Ibadan. The Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, has said that about 65,000 out-of-school children have returned to classrooms in the state. The governor stated this while receiving on a courtesy visit the delegation on the BESDA-AF Implementation Support Mission of the World Bank and the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, at the Executive Council Chamber Secretariat Office. Governor Makinde noted that Oyo State has benefited from the BESDA-AF intervention program, adding that it has enhanced and improved the state's education sector. While thanking the World Bank and the UBEC for providing the structural and funding support, the governor gave the assurance that his administration would put in the necessary efforts and resources to access the funds allocated to the state in the new cycle. The team lead for the UBEC, who is also the National Program Coordinator, Mr. Mayowa Aleshi, said the team would evaluate the implementation of the project, the challenges, and review for further
strengthen science education and equip students for global competitiveness. The Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Honorable Oluyole, reaffirmed the state government's unwavering commitment to improving the quality of education and deepening science learning across Oyo State. He said that he gave the assurance during the symbolic distribution of science materials to selected public secondary schools drawn from all the 33 local government areas of the state.
The Oyo State Education Trust Fund, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, has distributed science materials to 3 selected public secondary schools in each of the 33 local government areas of the state. The event, which was attended by the Permanent Secretary of Education, Mrs. T.B. Oluyole, directors from the Ministry of Education, staff of the Education Trust Fund, school principals, parents and students, were designed to improve the quality of science education in Oyo State. In his address, the Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Honorable Oluyole, expressed appreciation to the principals and teachers for their dedication. He noted that the outcomes of their efforts are evident, citing Oyo State's 3rd place ranking in the recent NECO examination as a testament to their hard work. He encouraged students to continue striving for excellence, assuring that their efforts are vital to the advancement of education in Oyo State.
There is synergy between all ministries and MDAs, and this is one of it that we are witnessing today. Educational Trust Fund is a fund that has been contributed by various sectors of the economy. It was created by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Oyo State, Governor Seyi Makinde, FNSC. And because they have some money with them, this money are meant for educational infrastructure. And this is the first step now. Supply of chemicals to our laboratories across the state.
In his welcome address, the chairman of the Oyo State Education Trust Fund, Barrister Rahman Abiodun, stated that the fund was established to support educational development and remains committed to achieving this objective.
Today we are distributing the science equipment so as to further complement the educational standard in Oyo State, having regards to the performance. And then you can equally witness to the fact that the recruitment of teachers has really ensured further improvement in the educational sector. In
their goodwill messages, the chairman of ANCOPS, Mr. Fasasi Abdullahi, and the chairman of NAPTAN, Mr. Oyewale Adebayo, expressed appreciation to the government for its efforts in reconstructing and equipping educational institutions in Oyo State.
On behalf of the entire principals in Oyo State, we want to appreciate Her Excellency for this noble gesture again. in making teaching of science in our schools real. Because without practicals and science equipment, teaching of science will not be real. Without this symbolic presentation and distribution of science equipment, we know it will go a long way in assisting the science teachers in teaching effectively.
The event highlighted distribution of science materials to students and group photograph. Frances Aino, BCOS News.
As concerns grow over declining standards in Nigeria's education system, despite increasing access to schools, stakeholders are calling for a balanced approach that expands opportunities without sacrificing quality. At the 605th inaugural lecture delivered by F.S. Akinwumi at the University of Ibadan, managed in the country. BCOS reporter Marvelous Akede brings you highlights from the event held at the Trenchard Hall, University of Ibadan.
In his lecture titled Achieving Quality Amongst Quantity, The Paradox of Managing Education in Nigeria, Professor Femi Akinwumi addressed the ongoing debate over whether Nigeria should prioritize expanding access to education or improving its standards. He explained that while the number of applicants seeking university admission continues to rise, only a fraction gain entry each year, according to JAMB records. At the same time, Nigeria has about 18.3 million out-of-school children, representing nearly 20% of the global total, indicating a pressing need to expand the system. According to him, increasing enrollment must go hand in hand with providing qualified teachers, adequate classrooms, proper facilities, and relevant learning materials. Beyond infrastructure and enrollment, Professor Akinwumi also called for the integration of indigenous education into the formal curriculum.
What is happening in the education system, you discover that we have a lot of complaints, ranging from primary to secondary, and somebody as a stakeholder, right? I've been executive chairman of Supreme Court since 2020, and I know what people have been talking about. That we have quantity, but there's no quality. But I believe that quantity and quality can go together if adequately managed.
Providing further insight, the HOD of the Department of Educational Management of the University of Ibadan, Professor E.J. Isuku, emphasized the importance of balance. He reiterated that increasing the number of schools is necessary to absorb the growing number of applicants, but one that expansion without resources could erode standards.
The lecturer has said, you cannot say it's all true or you cannot say it's all false, because it depends on the environmental conditions that exist. And of course, he was even giving different data to see that we still need to expand our school system, given the number of applicants to higher education and the fraction of the people that actually get access to education.
The lecture hosted by the Dean of the Faculty of Education, F.O. Kester, reflected Professor Akinwumi's remarkable journey from driving a taxi on the University of Ibadan campus to delivering its 605th inaugural lecture, a story that reinforced the power of opportunity and quality education. In attendance was the First Lady of Ekiti State, Dr. Oluyole Oyebanji, who spoke glowingly of his character, dedication, and lifelong commitment to the educational sector. Also speaking, Ms. Akinwumi commended her husband, dedication, and emphasized perseverance and discipline as key lasting impact.
The inaugural lecturer happens to be my guy in the department. We are in the same department of educational management. He's my mentor, so for me it's a blessing listening to him, learning from his wealth of experience.
Topic is so loaded and it's not very common, as you can see. So a long way forward.
As stakeholders continue to debate reforms, one point remains clear: expanding Nigeria's education system is necessary, but sustaining its quality will determine the nation's long-term development. Marvelous Akede, BCOS News.
The Nigeria Police Force in Ondo State has advised religious leaders, including Muslims, Christians and traditional worshippers, to suspend night services due to prevailing security challenges in the state. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Mr. Adeboale Lawal, gave the advice on Friday in Akure while addressing newsmen on the recent abduction of 6 members of the Celestial Church in Uso. It was reported that the victims were kidnapped on the 25th of February during a midnight service at the church located along the Oslo-Owo Expressway in our local government area of the state. It was the victims' release. The commissioner said it would be easier for the police to monitor religious activities during the daytime than at night.
On the foreign scene, Afghanistan's Taliban rulers on Friday said they were willing to negotiate after Pakistan bombed its forces in major cities and dozens of troops were killed in the most serious clashes between the allies turned foes. The strikes by Pakistan were the first directly targeted at its former allies over allegations that they are harboring militants, a situation it described as an open war. Targets in the capital Kabul and the city of Kandahar, where Taliban leaders are based, were hit, signaling a stark rupture in ties between the Islamic neighbors. Security sources in Pakistan said the strikes involved air-to-ground missile attacks on Taliban military offices and posts in response to Afghan attacks on Thursday. The Taliban said Afghan forces had used drones to hit Pakistani military targets, as Pakistan noted that all the drones had been brought down and there was no damage.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the main points. A High Court sitting in Ibadan has directed the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to recognize the PDP convention held in Ibadan and validated the emergence of Aminu Turaki-led PDP executive.
The Federal High Court in Abuja on Friday admitted a former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, and his son, Abdulaziz, to 200 million naira bail each over alleged terrorism financing and illegal possession of firearms.
The Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, has said
PCOS event ground níbi tílẹ̀ ti tẹ́jú àyè ìgbọ́kọ̀sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ìyẹn pọ̀já burata PCOS event ground ìyẹn nílé Akéde oríta Báṣọ̀run nílùú Ìbàdàn PCOS event ground Ìṣọ̀run nílùú Ìbàdàn PCOS event ground òun yẹn máa bọ̀ o. Ohun tá à ń sọ ni pé fónírúurú ayẹyẹ tẹ́yìn bá fẹ́ ṣe ó ti bọ̀ o. Ohun tá à ń sọ ni pé fónírúurú ayẹyẹ tẹ́yìn bá fẹ́ ṣe ó ti wù kó fẹjú tó. PCOS event ground òun ló kájú ẹ̀ òun ló káàtó. Ṣókùú àgbàlégbéyàwó tàbí birthday tàbí open year crusade ó sì jẹ́ book launch ní tiyín ni ẹ máa bọ̀. Ẹ̀yin sá ti kàn sí wa ní yàrá kẹrin commercial department PCOS ilé Akéde tàbí kẹ́ ẹ pè sórí PCOS customer care line tololong 0915-870-3300 PCOS event grant ilé àríyá fáwọn tó mọ bó ṣe ń lọ.
Lákòókò Ramadan yìí Kivo non-dairy creamer ó darapọ̀ mọ́ gbogbo ẹbí jákèjádò Nàìjíríà nínú àdúrà àròjinlẹ̀ àti ìrẹ́pọ̀.
Láti sàárì sí ìṣínú ṣe àfikún adùn sí ife tíì.